Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. Today is Wednesday, July 9th. Lot to talk about. A lot of revelations happened off air. Stuff that I didn't know that happened in my past that, just brought to my attention.
Bad person.
I apologize. I'm not a bad person.
You're welcome.
I don't think that happened. But a lot of revelations, a lot of conversations, a lot of sports conversations, a lot of good things to talk about today on this beautiful Wednesday night.
Yeah, sorry we're late. We had a trip down memory lane.
We did have we had a little trip down memory lane. We also had a lot of some prepping for the show.
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to talk about? This is the dead season. This is the hey, let's show videos, everybody lifting weights, getting jacked over the summer season. Obviously LSU football right in the middle of their summer workouts. You're getting a lot of the power clean, bench pressing, squat videos. Kind of getting you just real easing you into the football season as it's coming up in a hurry. College football video game is out. Lloyd just bought it. He is still not good. He's still going to get his doors blown off by Jared whenever they do play, and whenever Jared gets the game, if he hasn't gotten it already.
I'm going to play with Georgia.
That's fine. Jared probably still beat you. And I don't mean that in a mean way.
It's a layered joke.
And so what?
It's a layered joke.
Did I miss that? Okay.
You get it now?
I do.
Uh-huh.
I got it. My bad. My bad. My mind's still rolling from the stuff we talked about off air. But even
living in the past.
Even in this downtime, there's a lot of sports conversation to be had. In the baseball world, college baseball world, Tony Vitello comes out in an interview and is complaining a little bit about some of the tampering and some of the stuff that is going on in the transfer portal and the recruiting side of things, and how there's one specific team that is targeting players that is currently on teams, things that probably shouldn't happen. There's a lot of speculation on what team that is. I don't believe it's obviously not LSU. I think there's a few other teams that were named if you go look in the comments on the comments section of this video, there's a few teams named or asked about, and the person who would have the knowledge of who he's talking about, they said no to this. So, obviously that's not a good thing, but that is happening all over sports, not just baseball. It's happening probably a lot more in football. But that's what happens. You're gonna have to fight it. Dillingham, football coach at Arizona State, came out in the Big 12 media days and basically was talking about how it's not about recruiting, it's more about retention, which is true. Obviously, you do need to recruit to get guys in, but you have to retain the top portion of that recruiting class year after year, and the guys you have obviously already on the roster. So that is obviously the big part of college recruiting now, is the retention part. And obviously, you have to get the guys in place to do that. LSU has seemed to find those guys from Ole Miss. They have brought in 4 of Ole Miss's recruiting team. GM, assistant GM, all these guys. 4 of those guys that used to be at Ole Miss are now at LSU. One of those has since left to go to the NFL. But it shows you the type of recruiting that Ole Miss had over the last few years. Whenever you do those things at a high level, other teams are going to come in there and try to take some of that talent away, which it happens all around football. SEC Media Days start on Monday. LSU is sending Whit Weeks, obviously Nuss Bus, and Chris Hilton to is it in Birmingham? Birmingham, right? I think that's what.
Where the hell is Nuss going?
Yeah, why would he go? Why would the 6-year senior Heisman frontrunner go to Media Days? I don't know. But he will be there along with the other 2 guys. What's that?
Atlanta.
It's at Atlanta. My bad, not Birmingham.
Where the players
Atlanta.
play.
That's what they say. That's what they say. Welcome to Atlanta. They will be representing LSU in Media Days. Obviously, there will be a lot of everybody is in the best shape of their life. Everybody's excited about their roster. There's going to be, I'd imagine, a lot of conversation there about the new revenue sharing stuff. There's going to be a lot of conversation about the portal. All of those things that are always the common questions. Brian Kelly's going to get a lot of questions about, hey, is this the year that you finally get over the hump at LSU and make it to the playoffs? You're going to have Lane Kiffin's obviously entertaining. Eli Drinkowitz always has some crazy things that he says out there. The only thing I do miss about Les Miles, this is the only thing, is him at media days. Steve Spurrier may be the best
ever
of all time at media days. Lane Kiffin's not far behind him, though. Lane Kiffin's pretty good in front of the mic, in front of the media, and as entertaining as he is. But we will talk about that as it comes. Obviously, there's really not much to talk about in the football world as far other than expectations and what we expect to see. Yes, Lloyd.
Who's the coach you're least interested to hear from? Jeff Lebby?
Probably.
Brent Venables?
Probably.
Sam Pittman?
Those three would probably be pretty good.
Mark Stoops? Or... No, I think that's it.
Those are probably the four.
Yeah. I kind of want to hear from Sam Pittman because I really want to know how the state of Arkansas and obviously the University of Arkansas is planning on using, because I'm sure that question's coming, the alleged no state tax, I believe, on NIL.
There you go. That question is going to be asked, no doubt.
Yeah, I would love to know. I would imagine if that is true, which I'm pretty sure it is, but don't quote me. That is true. I'd love to know how that's going to be spoken about.
And you know what? I'd imagine you're going to get that answer, or you may just get a roundabout answer and the answer is not answered. It's going to talk around circles and then the answer never gets answered. That's usually what happens in some of these media days because, you don't want to put a soundbite out there that ends up coming back to bite you. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out on Sunday or Monday. What?
Arkansas has passed a law making name, image, and likeness income tax exempt for student athletes effective January 1, 2025. LSU has also tried to follow suit.
Okay. That's a smart move.
The entire league is going to try to follow suit.
No doubt. That's the case. No doubt. And look, that's good for the – listen, it is a great time right now to be a college athlete. It is a great time because you are getting benefits that you'll never get again in your professional life, right? No income tax on the money that you bring in just because it's NIL. You're going to get, you're going to get paid money without actually having to do anything yet. It's just a lot of good things are happening for the college athlete. It's a great time to be a college athlete. We'll see how that happens. We'll see if that gets passed here in Louisiana. That would be a great thing. MLB Draft is this Sunday. Starts this Sunday. The first 3 rounds, I believe, are Sunday night. LSU is expected to be very well represented in those 3 rounds. Obviously, potentially have the first overall pick in the draft. Potentially have 2 first-rounders in Anthony Eyanson. And then you're going to have a couple other guys that are going to slot in that 2nd and 3rd round. There's a lot of question marks. There's a lot of intrigue on some of these guys, Ethan Fry being one of them, Jared Jones being another one. Where does Chase Shores go? How much money does he get? There's going to be a lot of conversation. There's going to be a lot of interest in those guys. A lot of interest on our side, obviously, to see kind of where they fall in. We got confirmation. I know on Monday we're supposed to have Josh Jordan on the show. He was busy recruiting. They got a lot of guys in this week on visits. I'd imagine you're going to see some announcements here come soon as far as guys committing. But he will be on the show on Monday. Obviously, recap or talking draft. The draft will probably be still going on as he's on the show. But he'll have a better idea of what happened in the first 3 rounds and kind of who he thinks is maybe will end up on campus and who he thinks may not end up on campus. We're obviously going to talk about who we could potentially have coming back. 2 of the 2 big names, I think, outside of the obvious and Ethan Fry, and those guys are Connor Ware and Zach Cowan, right? Lloyd posed the question and off air: is Connor Ware come back? I don't know. Jay went and got a lot of left-handed pitchers, and Jay didn't come in and say that was intentional. That wasn't something that they targeted. It was just we're going after the best players, but they did bring in a lot of lefties. I don't know if that means that Connor Ware is not coming back or not, but that's something to keep an eye on. And the other one was Zach Cowan. I do believe Zach Cowan comes back. I don't believe he projects as a super high draft pick. He's a really good pitcher, and I think he could make a long career playing professional baseball because of the ability to pitch in, out, up, down, change speeds, location, all that kind of stuff. But I do think that he has a good chance of coming back and putting himself in, in that either that same role or maybe being a rotation piece if someone else falters or doesn't really take that next jump. Those are all things that we're going to talk about. Look, whenever you get through the grind of a season, right, you've got to play injured. And I'm playing injured today. I had a little procedure. I can't really show them. Let me pick my foot up. See, I got a little wrap job on my toe with some flip flops. I had a ingrown toenail. If anybody's ever had one of those, they stink. And I got it removed today. It's wild what a little numbing shot will do to you because there is zero finesse in getting this thing out. And I'm
straight hatchet job.
Yeah, it's not. Look, and I'm gonna feel great in a few days. I'd imagine tomorrow's not gonna feel good. The numbing, that's still numb a little bit, starting to wear off. So I'm starting to get a little throbbing,
feeling bad.
But look, you gotta fight through it sometimes. You gotta play through pain. You gotta play through injuries, and that's what we're doing here today. So,
hey, bitch, I'm surprised.
Question: I don't know the answer to this. Does an ingrown toenail figuratively and literally stink, or is it just a figuratively?
No, just figuratively. Stink as far as hurts. Doesn't there's no odor. Now, I imagine if it got infected and you didn't take care of it, maybe that would have some stench to it. But what?
Is it? I don't know the answer to this. I'm literally just asking. Is all ingrown toenails infected, or is it just that? No,
they're not all infected. It doesn't all have to get. I mean, if you don't take care of it, yeah, for sure.
Okay. Yes, ingrown toenails can smell bad.
Can't smell bad. Lloyd Googled it.
This infection can produce
was yours
foul
hurting
odor.
already?
Mine was hurting. It wasn't infected yet. It was starting to get there. It was working on it.
Send me the picture.
I fought off getting to going there as long as I could. I tried to do the self remedies at home. I tried to Epsom salt, use the whole
so you knew it was already going down to.
Oh no! Listen, I knew it. The basketball season was very well documented. Talked about having to play in the pickup league that I was playing in, and the shoes that I had were just a tad too small, and I kept jamming my toe in front of my and so it got real sore, and there was bleeding, and I didn't take care of it, and I lost a toenail. I was like, okay, this is fine. Let's just get a new one. See, mine was on the right. Mine was on the outside, not the inside. Yeah, not great. And so the toenail started growing back, and it was just, I fought it. I tried to fix it. I tried to get it out myself. And, boy, when he ripped it out, ain't no way I was getting this thing out. It was in there. But I'm feel good. So I'm playing hurt, playing injured. I'm hurt, dog. I'm hurt.
You tell me this didn't stink?
Ooh, that's not – I mean, that was worse than mine.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that looked gross.
Well,
mine wasn't yellow like that.
My main concern
What you doing, man?
My main concern is that Mikie showed up to the show wasted the past couple of times, and now he's on pain meds.
Oh, what do you mean wasted?
It's just a situation to balance.
I was not wasted. No way. I never showed up wasted. I showed up sober as a bird.
All these stories we starting to learn about.
I can see why he drinks.
Hey, it's a time. It's the summertime. You got 2 months. Not a lot to talk about. You got to bring your personality. You got to fill that void with something. And my vice is getting ingrown toenails removed, I guess, and pain shots and alcohol.
Yeah. You sound like a real ball player.
Yeah, that's it. Speaking of ball players, let's touch on this Vitello interview, I guess. Look, Tony. Actually, let's start with this, and then I want to ask my second question about Tennessee. So Tony V comes out and says a bunch of things in this interview. But the one that stood out was there's one school in our league that likes to make undercover offers to guys, and our 2 or 3 guys that were on the end of that have stayed strong, right? Basically saying, hey, there's one team that goes out there and throwing offers at our guys whenever they're not in the portal and they're still on our team and trying to lure them away from Tennessee into whatever school that he's talking about. What is your feel on that? Obviously, I think that happens from not just one team. I think that happens from multiple teams. What's your take on what he said, and do you feel like he's got a right to gripe about it?
I mean, I don't know that he has a right to gripe or does not have a right to gripe. Like, I don't know his recruiting tactics. I would imagine, and I'm not saying that he does it, but I would imagine that's something that's probably been happening with maybe more than one school in the league or just around college ball period, right? Like, these times are wild, man. There's things that get done behind the scenes that I think not a lot of us know about, obviously. But yeah, that's kind of my thought, and I just wonder when I think about him saying something like that or bringing something like that to the table. I wonder how much of this is going on behind the scenes, and is there things that are worse behind the scenes? Because like I feel like if there is, and there's more that needs to be tackled than something like this. So I don't know, man. Like I think that entire way the system is right now, it's made for a lot of finagling. And the finagling happens at a very high dollar price these days. So I don't know. That's where I'm at with it. It's an interesting thing that he said. It's interesting that he brought something like that up kind of unsolicited.
Right. He felt the need to bring up the conversation. Right. And that, that's there's something to be said for that. Obviously, it's affecting him and enough to where he wanted to bring it up in a public interview. The next question I have about the Tennessee and Tony V is they've been really good for the last 5 years, right? Super talented, won a World Series, have come up short in other years where you felt like they're really, really talented. They're losing a lot of talent to the draft, right? They did it last year, but they're losing a lot. I think they're projected to have 3 or 4 first-rounders this year. Are they in a spot now where, like, could they start kind of coming down, or do you feel like they're going to kind of stay at the top for a while?
Well, I mean, what's the definition of coming down? They've won like 50 games for like the last, I don't know how many years. They're probably over the past, I say probably since COVID in 2020, they got to be top 2 or 3, if not 1, in terms of wins per season. So coming down, that's, I mean,
yeah, I mean, like not being a, like, before this, like, the last 4 years or whatever, however long it's been, they've been, hey, Tennessee is a top 5 team, and they're odds-on favorite to get to Omaha and one of the top odds-on favorite to win the World Series. Obviously, they recruited well. Tony V's brought some guys in. Has not he's won the big one last year, obviously, but you lose a bunch of guys, it's hard to kind of keep doing that, especially in this day and age. I'm not saying they can't. It's just a question after he brings this up, is it one of those things where they're kind of in that position where, all right, we kind of had our run, and now we're going to be good, but maybe not be the top of the SEC, or do you think that they continue to stay at the top and continue to do the things that they've been doing? How many World Series appearances? They have 2 World Series appearances under him, right?
Yeah, this is what I do believe. I do believe this. I think Tony V gets the job in Tennessee. I think Tennessee was always looked at one of those schools that was on the outside looking in, wanting to be a big boy school or not. I think they've arrived to being in that conversation pretty consensusly, right? I think right now where he's at and understanding the actual the landscape of college ball, which is understanding that it could pop up anywhere at any time if you put the right amount of money and you get the right amount of guys in the program. They've dumped a lot of money into him. Obviously, he's the highest paid coach in the league at $3 million a year. And they're also dumping a ton of money into that stadium and what they're doing on that side. I think this is probably the first time he's starting to feel like legitimate pressure, right? Like before it was, the pressure was different, if you will. I think this is the first time where like every bit of the backing is there. Every bit of the belief that you have a top program is there. Every bit of the belief that you can get any player that you want in the country is there. So if you don't, quote unquote, perform, whose fault is it? Like, right. I think this is the first time he's probably feeling that. And I think that may be where his mind is.
That's probably the better question, right? That's kind of where I was trying to get to it. I don't think I framed it the right way, but I appreciate you bringing me back to that, because that's kind of what I meant, right? Because there's a lot of. There is a lot of pressure on them, but at the same time, getting them to where they're at from where they came from is, puts them in a position where, he's going to be there as long as he wants to be there, unless there's like a scandal or something.
Very possible.
Which, I mean, maybe. I think he's learned how to button that up, but time will tell.
Well, I just think it's interesting that LSU is always on the forefront of everybody's mind when it comes to tampering in the portal, just because LSU has had success in the portal. A lot of SEC schools that have had success in the portal. Like, it's funny to me that it's always, LSU wins a national championship, and how much of that was portal-based? 2 players, maybe 3 players? But I don't think you went out.
I mean, this year, this year you had
Dickinson.
You had Dickinson, and you had Eyanson.
And Poppy.
Yep, those 3.
But I think a lot of this stems from when LSU went and got – they were on the forefront of the portal, right? They get Jacob Berry when, obviously, Jay leaves. Arizona brings him with them. Then you go and get Tommy Tanks, and that becomes – LSU gets all of the big names out the portal. I don't think that's how – LSU has done a very good job of identifying talent in the portal with just top players withstanding. Like, I don't think Eyanson was somebody that everybody thought like, a have to go get him. LSU proved that to be true because of the way they developed talent.
And I'm glad you brought Eyanson up, because with the draft right around the corner, in the draft on Sunday, Stanfield was another one. But it was outside of Eyanson and Dickinson, the other guys filled their role. Like, it wasn't like you went and got a bunch of Skeens and Tommy Whites and Jacob Berries and those guys. Like, these guys were good, and they assumed their role and they played their role really well. And then you went and got, Eyanson, obviously, who turned into a superstar. And, with the draft around the corner, Eyanson continually helped his stock, especially in the back end of the season when the competition got better and the stakes got higher. He pitched his best. And as a result of that, I think he put himself in the top 40 prospects in this draft, which puts him kind of in that supplemental first, early second round. I do believe he's a first rounder. But, we'll find out on Sunday. Obviously, Anderson's the top 2 pick probably in the draft. And then Eyanson will be the next guy drafted at LSU unless something crazy happens and some team just falls in love with Chase Shores and goes and drafts him and stretches for him. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I do believe Eyanson's a first rounder. Do you feel the same way, Jay?
Yeah, I definitely believe he's a first rounder. I think coming into the year, he came in with a hype. He was one of the bigger names in the portal, obviously coming from a smaller school. You kind of wanted to see it blossom into what it could blossom into. It's a guy that ended the year, if I go back and say it, I think it was better numbers than what actually Kade had on the year. And I think in large part, he was able to do what he did, or kind of really make a name for himself right at the end of the year. Right, you got to remember, he came in relief and threw in that SEC tournament win, right? So he showed the ability to do that, and in quick turn, too, after him starting all year, and then he threw the way he did in the postseason. And I think, obviously, Kade had an unbelievable postseason and an unbelievable College World Series, so it kind of goes under the radar a little bit, but a very large part of what LSU was able to do this year was because Anthony Eyanson threw the way he did. It was because he took the ball and threw on Saturdays the way he did. And guess what? He took that ball every Saturday, right? Or every game, too, if you will, in the SEC. I think his ability to do that and pitch the way he did, it reminds me of 2009. It reminds me of having a Anthony Renato and a Lewis Copeland. It reminds me of those 2 type of guys. I do think he'll be a first-round pick, and I think a lot of what he did down the stretch helps him and propels him kind of like solidly into that spot, if you ask me.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I don't know. Actually, a mutual friend of ours, Jay, texted me the other day randomly. He's a cross-checker that was around when we were from your area. You know who I'm talking about. And he was asking me I was like asking him about, who he likes. He's like, of course I'm at LSU. That's where all that's where you get all the money's at. That's where you get all your talent. And I brought up Eyanson, and he was like, yeah, we really like him. And I was like, look, he's a killer on the mound. Like, this guy, in my opinion, is a no-brainer, can't miss, just based off of not only his stuff but the intangibles he brings on the mound. So I think a lot of people kind of feel that way about him because he didn't disagree. He agreed with me.
Yeah.
So I would imagine he's gonna see himself go at pretty high, and he's earned every bit of that. Obviously those 2. I don't know if Chase Shores is going to get in the first round. He's got first round stuff, obviously. I think he's going to be a second rounder. I do. I think he's going to get paid a good amount of money.
Yeah, that's where you.
I think something to watch with him is how big is that compensation round this year? Like, how many teams are actually picking in that spot?
It's not that big. It's not because look.
But see, I don't know because I hadn't looked at the draft order. But like, I think that's a big conversation in terms of how early does Chase Shores pop up and get popped in the
so
draft.
The crazy thing about it is, you only have technically, and this is the weird thing about baseball draft, but you technically only have 27 first round picks. Right? You have this year.
That varies.
This year, right? 27. Usually in a professional sports drafts have however many teams are in that league, that many first round picks. Baseball is a little different because you could lose picks based off of Dodgers, Mets, and Yankees receive a 10-pick penalty on their first picks for exceeding the second surcharge threshold of the competitive balance tax. So like they don't have a salary cap, but they have a competitive balance tax. You get penalized for it, and so that's why you have 27 picks. Kansas City Royals, they get a incentive pick, a promotion. So we talked about that, the promotion incentive picks, right, for bringing up a young player and not keeping him down in the big leagues, and then having an opportunity to go out and get rewarded for that. Kansas City received for Bobby Witt Jr. finishing in the top 3 of MVP voting last year, so they get the 28th pick as well as the 23rd pick. And you got compensation picks. Arizona, Baltimore's got 2. So 29, 30, 31, 32, and then you have competitive balance. So you got 43 technically in the first round. So 43 picks, including the competitive balance attacks, competitive balance picks. So yeah, I mean it's not at look in my draft year they had 60 between first round and compensation. So a little less than that. 17 picks less than that.
Yeah.
But I do believe he's going to be picked in the top 43 picks. I do. I don't know if Chase Shores is in there. The other question marks, obviously, are the ones we've talked about, and Fry and Fry, Stanfield. Where does he get picked? Who else? Who else are some of the question marks? As far as like can come back, maybe not come back. We talked about Connor Ware, Zach Cowan.
Well, yeah, I'm about to say, so the Cowan idea. Dude, Cowan's a very interesting one to me. I know you said you are in full belief he'll come back. Man, I'll be honest with you, if it was probably like 2 to 3 years ago, because you're starting, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, the average velo I don't think has really ticked down or any of that. But you're starting to see some other guys like in the league too, and not all like older guys who just haven't like gotten to the back end of their career, but you're starting to see some guys at the big league level who can just pitch. They have like real pitchability, and they're not just looking for just top end velocity anymore. They're finally getting to the point now where they understand like 92, 93 at the top of the zone may play as much as a 98 in the top. Like, you know what I mean? So like that's kind of coming back a little bit into the game. So I don't know. I mean, he had a great year, right? So I think that's going to factor into it much. I think probably the biggest factor for somebody like Zach Cowan is how he sees himself in terms of what does he feel is a good spot for him to give him the best opportunity to go forward, right? I think that's kind of where he's at. I think it's pretty understood at this point. Like, I would be shocked if he was a first-round pick, right? Based off the number of premium arms in terms of velocity and stuff that's always out there, I would be shocked if he's a first-round pick. But if he doesn't see himself like as having to go to that spot for him to get to the next level, it'll be interesting to see how he views himself and what he thinks is a good spot and a good landing place in terms of teams to give him the best opportunity to get to the big leagues.
Yeah. I think the bigger worry or the bigger focus from the staff is going to be on the recruiting class, because their recruiting class is extremely highly rated. They've got a lot of guys who are, top prospects in the draft. And I think that I know for a fact they're going to be sweating some of these guys as far as if they sign or not. You've already had one guy take his name out of the draft and the number one catcher in the country. I would imagine you're probably going to have a couple more guys do that. I don't know if you're going to have as many as you had last year. Say, oh no, I'm out the draft. I'm going to go to school. But you just really never know. The next question mark, and not about coming back, but where do you think he's going to get drafted? And we've talked about this a lot. Is Bear Jones, right? I mean, I think he's profiled himself. He is what people like. He's a power guy. He's gotten better offensively every single year. He's walked more. The strikeout's always going to be part of the game. I think everybody understands that. It's how much can you minimize that, and whenever you're not striking out, is it home run or walk? I think he proved to everybody this year that he utilizes the entire field. He was a lot more patient. It wasn't homer or bust. And I do believe he's gotten significantly better at first base. I don't know, I think that'll be a question mark for some teams, but I think that he's proven enough at first that saying he's definitely a commodity there. He's not a liability.
Yeah, he's super interesting, and it's like last year the big conversation was, can he cut down the strikeouts? That's going to equal to more production. Very true. Like that's usually kind of a thing. But this year, he didn't cut down the strikeouts, and he still hit 22 homers and led the team by over 25 RBIs, or close to 25 RBIs.
Right.
20 RBIs, if you will. So, he was still the most productive bat, the only bat in the lineup that reached 20 homers, right? And he still hit 323 on the year. So he showed you example A of being able to cut down on strikeouts and be highly productive, because I think he hit, 28 homers 2 years ago, I believe?
Yeah. Last year.
And then 22 homers this year, still with 76 RBIs, and still hit 23 this year with a lot of strikeouts. That he's showing you a way to be productive in both sides of it. So he's going to be very interesting in how he gets evaluated and what teams think he could possibly be in the future.
No, 100%. And I think
because you don't usually see both, right? He got benched freshman year because the strikeouts took away from him actually performing at the plate. Like he ran into a wall where he just couldn't put it together.
Right.
And then 2 years back to back, very little strikeouts or a much reduced number of strikeouts or strikeout rate. And then this year the strikeout rate's higher, and there's still production in both of these years.
And the strikeout rate was higher, but the walk rate was also higher, right? Now, this day and age in professional baseball, they don't really – I don't say they don't care about strikeouts, but they don't put as much emphasis on making contact and striking. If you're a homer guy, if you're a guy that has juice, and you're going to be able to hit homers, they're going to be able to accept some of the strikeouts, especially if you're able to minimize it in the sense of walking as well, right? Like if you got the walks and you got some strikeouts, but you're also driving the ball to the ballpark, like. Averages have been going down. Average of I don't know what the league average in Major League Baseball is, but it's going down every year. And so as long as he's able to produce with the power wise, and he's able to produce with the walks, I think the strikeouts are going to be okay. Like that's just part of his game, and that's all right. There's a lot of guys that are that make it to the big leagues and have a long career in the big leagues because the leadoff guy for Schwarber has made an unbelievable career doing that. Bunch of homers, will strike out, not going to be a high average guy, but he walks a lot, and he's a guy that you want to have in your lineup. And so, I think he's proven that. I think the other thing that helped his draft stock at least a little bit would be his ability to play first base and play it well. I think that's another part of it. I think he showed he was capable of doing that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So this year it's very interesting because I thought for sure he was gone last year. I think he's gone this year, but I'm very interested to see what he is on that market this year in terms of you didn't see him either reduce and or keep the strikeouts the same, but the production was just as productive, right? And there were some big moments in there where he was asked to not just hit the homer and actually have an at-bat and produce that way, and he did that as well. So it'll be interesting.
Correct. Lloyd, what do you think
about
what we were just talking about, the draft, Bear Jones?
Oh, I'm in the same boat as we were all in on the camp of I'm surprised he came back this year, but then when you look at it in totality, what did he prove? The fact that he can cut down on the strikeouts, even though there were probably more blips this year on the radar of I guess, streaky hitting. But I think the defense is what he really came back to prove. As you've said this before, and it holds weight in my mind, as you know how hard it is to pretty much like bang your way into the big leagues as a DH. Like, it's not something that people do very often. Dirt Jones has shown that he has a more than viable glove at first base. And so you even saw him play like third, so he showed the athleticism. And I think that's what he came back to do. If he came back again, I don't know what that would really prove aside from the fact that it would just be for LSU.
Correct.
He wants to come back and play college baseball. But I think he's done all he can at LSU. Like, I think that's where the conversation of who's coming back and who stays and all of that, like, feels like Cowan should come back. It feels like Chase Shores is the one that it depends on.
Let me ask you this. If you think he should come back, why should he come back?
I think he just has so much more meat on the bone to prove that more of what he can do. He was used in almost a limited capacity. Same thing with Connor Ware, where it was talked about as if he was going to be a guy that was going to be maybe in your rotation, and you were looking for that extra piece before the year. Like, that was the conversation around Connor Ware, was he was the best pitcher that LSU showed throughout, spring ball or fall ball, whatever you want to call it, wherever, like, that was the name that was on every coach's tongue, was Connor Ware. And then he starts off great, throws, I think, 7 innings in his first two outings as a start, had, I think, 7 innings with 8 strikeouts and 1 walk, and then it all went south. And I think people have pointed to maybe injury concerns as to why he didn't perform as well. I think if Ware comes back and shows that he can be a viable part of your rotation, that only helps his draft stock. Same thing with Cowan, where he was a Friday night guy, and he comes in and you saw what he did on the back end of the bullpen, but then it got a little shoddy late. And it's like, well, maybe come back and develop the same way that you've seen other pitchers do it with a Kade Anderson, who developed a different pitch and got to be somewhat – like, that's what happened, though. Like, you work with a pitching coach in Yetsky, and he got him better.
My only question is this. If we say he was used in a limited capacity, would you say that Griffin Herring was used in a limited capacity last year?
I think that's why we all kind of thought that Griffin Herring may come back, right? Was that not the same conversation we were having? Like, man – obviously, if he felt strongly enough about his talent and where he got drafted and what he signed for to go, and he has rocketed through minor league baseball. But I do think that there's a conversation to be had about, hey, if you come back and prove that you can start or do this again, like, that's where the conversation about Major League Baseball and the draft is so interesting, because it's not about really where you go. It's about the slotted money that you earn yourself.
Okay, but yeah, no, I agree with that. But I guess here's where the difference in that situation is for me in terms of how I saw it. I think a lefty and somebody like Griffin Herring, a lefty that may have came back, and let's just say he could have either held or had somewhat of an uptick in velo and still perform that same way. Yeah, that's a different conversation. I'm under the belief that after a year of starting and then after a year in the pen, I don't think that Zach Cowan would come back in another year and have an uptick in velo. So with that being the situation of uptick in velo and uptick in stuff, however you want to look at it. So with that being the situation, as a right-hander, coming back another year after you already he threw 52 innings this year. Third on the team besides the 2 starters, or third outside of Kason Evans and Chase Shores. So Chase Shores had the starts. The other 2 guys that started, we already know, we've talked about them. Like, he threw a ton this year, 50-plus innings. Yeah. So it's like, if you've thrown that much, you're not going to probably uptick in velo or stuff. What else can a right-hander throwing 92 come back and do in this situation? And 92 is not bad. It is just no longer the average, or maybe even a hair above the average. It's now below average. So what else could he come back and do in terms of draft stock to get him somewhere else?
Yeah, I'm not saying he needs to come back.
I know you're not. I know it. That's not at all what we're saying. Yeah, I get that. I'm just saying.
No.
But in terms of what would, if coming back would be the move for him, what would be the benefits of doing so?
Well, I think the only reason he would come back is he would figure out in the draft, okay, like, I'm probably a 5th or 6th rounder. This is the money that I'm getting in this draft. This is the money that they're offering me. I'm not going to get a ton more upside, but I'm not going to go down much more than that. And I'm good with going back to school for another year and trying to go win another national championship and do it again. It's not about necessarily, hey, let me go and try to increase my value exponentially. It's more about, okay, I'm comfortable leaving that on the table, coming back, and I'll probably get that again next year. Or
which is fine. If his mind is, if his number one, I won't say sole focus, but if the top of his totem pole, the top of his priority is to win another natty, then yeah, I think there's a good chance that he comes back 100%. I'm just not sure that that's why you move on from Wofford to come here and you win a natty. In the thought process would be
what else do you have to do?
Come do another one. Like, I'm not sure that they're where he's at. You know what I'm saying?
No.
That's why I'm like, that's a super interesting spot, because I'm not saying that there's nothing to come back for, but it depends on, to me, where he sees himself and what he thinks, because the baseball draft is unlike any other in terms of he doesn't necessarily have to put his name into anything. So he can sit there and say, yeah, I'm draftable, and tell teams anything, and if he don't like where he's drafted on that day, he ain't got to go. So, like, that's where things – and that, like, look, at the end of the day, that's probably not the best decision to make, but it is a decision that you can make, right? And so, like, that's kind of where I'm sitting at, like, how does that go? How does he see himself if he does get drafted and somewhere in the range of maybe the money that he thinks he can get? Does he like the organization that he's going to? Does he like this opportunity to climb through there? Because that, at that point for him, that may be the best decision to make.
Right. And look,
I don't know.
And look, he may feel like, hey, I want to go and start my professional career and say I'm going to go be a starter in minor league ball, and I'm going to go and I'm going to, now Greg Maddux when he was younger threw a lot harder, but I'm going to go and Greg Maddux my way to the big leagues, and I'm going to go mix and match, move balls around, pitch really well, because that's going to play potentially more in the level, like minor league levels, than it did in college, because you don't have the metal bats, you don't have all these different things. If you can go and you've seen guys locate and be able to mix and match pitches and have a lot of success in professional baseball. If he feels like, hey, it's just time for me to start my career, I wouldn't be shocked if he win either. It's an interesting conversation, because he's the one guy that's like, okay, like, he's been really good. Like, there's no doubt about it. And he's gonna play professional baseball, but like, he's that one guy that's like, man, the upside's not like, oh, Chase Shores comes back and he's a starter and he ends up having a 2 ERA, ends up being the one overall pick in the draft. Like, the upside's there, right? That's not going to happen with Cowan. He's not going to automatically just start throwing 97 and become a top 10 pick. And that's not a slight to him. That's just the reality of that. So, go ahead.
Well, I'm about to say, and I'll say this too. And look, I understand this isn't all, or maybe even the bulk of what some of these draft decisions are made around, but it's crazy how we, not just we, like us, if we're not in it, you tend to have recency bias. If you look at his numbers on the year, he still had a sub-3. That's pretty damn good with 52 innings thrown on the year. We look at somebody like Anthony and Cade, they had a 218 batting average against and a 211 batting average against. Zach Collins was a 226 with a 294 ERA. Like, if you're telling him that if the stuff is not going to get any better, it's hard to sit here and say, I'm going to come back and have a better year statistically.
Right.
So what else would you be coming back for outside of winning a national championship as like your top thing to do?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that that's what his top thing to do is, being that he's already something that he's etched off of his list already.
Yeah. Or if he just says, you know what, I'm just not ready to go yet. I'm going to have one more year in college and do whatever. It's just, look, 100%. 100%.
Yeah. So like that's I'm just kind of give like Lloyd that context, and like, I understand. I just don't. Right-handers are looked at a little bit different than lefties, man. And like, a lefty coming back who we thought possibly had a chance of maybe having an uptick in velo in another year of getting stronger in his body, that could have gone to a different spot. Griffin is doing incredible in pro ball right now.
Yeah.
So kudos for him for making the decision, a tough decision, and doing what he's doing right now to prove his decision right. Looking at a right-hander in that spot, going on what would be his, I believe, 4th year in college, I believe. That's a little different. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. No, look, I agree. It's just he's an interesting case study, because he's the one guy that's like, you can go either way. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't know where he's projected to go. I don't know. I mean, he knows a lot more than I do. His agent knows more than we do, because they've obviously had more conversations. But That'll be a guy to keep an eye on, as well as a couple of the other guys, but him specifically, and then obviously the recruits. Switching gears a little bit to football, just for a second. Talked about the SEC Media Days starting next week. Big 12 Media Days started this week, or going on this week. Texas Tech head coach comes out in the Media Days, and he, I guess, is calling out Brian Kelly the right move, or is it like, hey, I don't know. He basically came out and said, he would love to have a home and home with LSU. Yeah, no shit. Like, of course you would. Like, that would be great for the program to have a home and home, because it's a huge brand. To be a nice big conference game, you'd probably be a prime time first week of the season game. Like, yeah, no shit, you want to have it. And I think that was in response to Brian Kelly wanting to have home and home with a Big Ten team. He was like, we'd love to have a home and home with LSU. I don't know if that's a big deal or not a big deal. I don't know if it's just him trying to, I think it's more beneficial for Texas Tech than it would be for LSU.
I think it is Texas Tech trying to kind of stamp their place and where they stand in college athletics.
Yep.
They want to be at the big boys table.
Well, here's the deal.
Then they're spending as if
they brought their billionaire to the SEC Media Days.
They are absolutely wiggling their way into the table of like, we'll be there, we'll do it.
Yeah.
And that's what they're trying to be relevant in the world of college athletics, and you see that when they're paying a softball player $1 million. Like, money is no option. They want people to know that. So you go take a swing at somebody where the SEC and the Big Ten have these conversations of, we want, conference games against each other. We want to play each other every year. If you're Texas Tech and you're trying to get to the table, this is your opportunity to be like, we want to do that too, and we'll do it. And it's no conversation. Like, it doesn't even have to be a set game that we play every year that you're trying to do with the Big Ten. We'll come play right now.
Yeah.
And that's what he's trying to do with Texas Tech is, like, we're trying to announce ourselves as one of the premier schools in college athletics when they're not.
But not a bad move for him.
No, they want to be relevant.
No doubt. And when you got money behind you, as we've seen, you can instantly become relevant.
I mean, they have a contract that's already come out for a recruit that's going to make $5 million. Like, signed, sealed, delivered. They'll pay for whatever.
Yeah.
And they want to be able to be seen as somebody that is in the sport. And so this is your way. You take a shot at, what do? You punch up. You punch at the bigger brands. And Brian Kelly opens himself to these kind of remarks whenever he's on record as saying, we want to play against the Big Ten, which those are the best. That's the other best conference in the sport. It's Big Ten and the SEC. And they're trying to find a way to make sure that those games happen because you're trying to find a way into the playoff. And you're looking around the conferences going, who do you play in the Big 12? Who do you play in the Pac-12?
Yeah.
So it's like these are the two premier leagues in the sport. We want to play each other so we can eliminate some of the guessing room.
Correct.
And Texas Tech is going, wait, we want to be a part of that conversation too.
Right. And that's, like I said, it's a good move on Texas Tech. That's why I don't think it's
not a shot. It's just a chance. You're trying to find an opportunity.
It's more beneficial for Texas Tech than it is for LSU.
Yeah.
I believe.
And you see LSU has been the brand that has not been afraid to play premier Week 1 games. You're going to Clemson. Clemson's coming to you the next year.
Yep.
You already have SMU on the schedule and on the books for the following years. Like, yeah, if there's one team that you could pick that says they're not going to run from anything, it's LSU,
no doubt.
And they bring eyeballs.
Yep.
Well, and I think that's part of the bigger point that you just made as well is the recency of what Texas Tech is doing in terms of the dollars that they're spending and kind of infusing into that program and what they're trying to do. I think it's the perfect time for them to strike, quote unquote, while their iron's hot, right? Like where they're getting themselves where they want to be. So I do think a lot of that is kind of all in one big whirlwind that they're putting together, trying to get that thing going.
The other topic on the college football side, and this isn't really, I've talked about it here. I hate recruiting. Like I've never loved it's just so wishy-washy, and I think now even more than ever. It's like, why are we even talking about it right now? Yeah, it's great to get it, but like you the likelihood of you keeping that guy all year, not very high, right? And I say this because it's on the heels of what's his name? Bryce Brown? No.
Bryce Underwood?
No, Brown. Who's the guy? The 5-star guy from U-High. That's about to make his commitment?
Mm-hmm.
Lamar Brown. Jesus. Lamar Brown from U-High, supposed to make his commitment tomorrow, 50-50 between Texas A&M and LSU. It's like LSU gets him. Everybody's like, "Oh yeah, we got him." And then what happens? Like what happened last year is you lose guys at the 11th hour because someone comes in with this bigger NIL check or whatever it is, and it's gone. It's just that whole stuff in college football with the recruiting thing. It's like let's not get our heart rate up, and let's not get too excited or too down if something goes our way or doesn't go our way in July, right? Let's wait till what happens in December because the likelihood of that guy sticking it out not very high. And so, that talking about the football news, that is probably the biggest quote unquote football news kind of on the horizon right now. As he's supposed to make his commitment tomorrow, but it's like, if he doesn't come to here and goes to A&M, because I think it is A&M,
it's a 2-horse race. People
are going to be extremely disappointed. The sky is falling. Damn, Brian Kelly can't recruit his state. All of those conversations that the irrational fan will say will be raised because it's A&M. But at the same time, it's like, this guy could change his mind 17 times.
Well, yeah,
before he actually signs with.
Well, I brought up this point earlier too, which I think it's a legitimate point, especially in 2025 with the type of facilities that are around the country and not just in Baton Rouge, not just at LSU. I would imagine if you've gone to school your entire life on LSU's campus, whether we like it, love it, whatever you want to call it, but there is reality in it. There's a large number of kids who don't want to do anything else because that's where they want to play. That's what they love. That's what they've seen. That's what they know. And there's still going to be a number of kids that say, it's time for me to get out from under this. I want to try something else.
Correct.
I want to try somewhere else. There's not much you can do about it if he is that type of person. I don't know that he is. I'm just saying, there is a realistic factor of that's how some people are wired. We'll find out, I guess.
Well, it's not only that. It's two sides of the coin, right? When you look at how recruiting was covered before NIL, before the transfer portal, where these cats are taking the opportunity to very much play it out. Like there's some guys that do it very publicly. They're on Twitter. They want their commitment to be important. They play both sides of the fence. They want to keep it interesting and have intrigue. And now that is still the mindset, but now it falls on deaf ears because of the way that recruiting has played out with NIL and the transfer portal and how quickly you can leave. People don't really give a shit anymore, but the kids still care. And so it makes fan bases look a certain way, whatever. It's like, oh, you got paid a bag to go to A&M, whatever. Or even if you do commit to LSU, it's like, well, we'll see what happens gotta wait until he signs. So it's still important to the kid,
but
sure. It's not important to the fan base. But that also brings in.
But it is important to the fan base. I do believe that.
I for a day.
I think it's I say important to the fan base of like the.
You want to win that day.
The diehard LSU fans like, damn, we got to get this guy, and then it's just. Back in the day, you get the guy in the summer, and if you commit in the summer, the likelihood of you keeping him is a lot higher.
Yeah, their commitment meant something.
Yeah,
not just that too. I mean, like you mentioned it too. Like it's important. It's way more important for the fan base because they see it as somewhat of an end all be all. The staff and coaches don't. The recruiting never stops, right? So even if you were to leave, go somewhere else for a year, chances are. He's not going to play the most amount of time. I'm not saying he's not going to play, but if he doesn't play, then there's a strong chance you got to re-recruit your own roster. People are recruiting your roster. Yeah. He could end up back in Baton Rouge in a year from now. That's right. A very realistic thing today. And the further and further we move away from the transfer portal being open the way it is, the less and less it is a thing in terms of, well, once he's gone forever. Right. You understand. I might be pulling him back next year, and no one's going to look at it sideways.
Correct.
Yeah, yep. I mean, you had Destin Hill that is now at LSU that went to Edna Carr. And he was a guy that didn't go to LSU out the gate, goes to Florida State, has to sit out a couple of years, gets injured, sits out another year. That was 2021.
Right, it's crazy.
But now he comes back, and like you said, they never stop recruiting you, and now he's on LSU's campus and going to play for LSU. That's how it works sometimes.
Speaking of recruiting, the one thing that I've seen, I guess, over the last year since we got Corey Raymond back and some of those – if you remember in Corey Raymond's past time at LSU, he recruited a ton of high-quality talent, right? Peterson, all these highly rated guys. But he also was able to find the Louisiana guys that were 3 stars early on and say, damn, this guy's going to be really good. And then by the time they get to LSU, they either were a 4 or 5 star guy who they got on early, or they were a 3-star guy that ended up being legit. Tre'Davious White, all these different guys, Mo Claiborne, all these guys, right? You're kind of seeing that. I'm not saying they're going after all these guys, but you're starting to see, damn, this guy committed from LSU, from Louisiana to LSU into 2027 or whatever class they go down to, and you're like, oh, he's rated as a 3-star. But you're going to look up in a year and a half, and he's 4 or 5 stars. It's just I like the fact that you have somebody who has a proven track record of going out and getting guys early on and being the first one on there and saying, hey, this was your dream school, we're your home state school, we believe in you, we think that you're going to be really good. Maybe they haven't really noticed you yet, and then all of a sudden they blow up and you're like, damn, see, I told you. It just feels like you kind of get that evaluation again, and there's been a proven track record, and I kind of like that. I'm kind of on board with that. You don't need to fill your whole team with those like, oh, let me just see if this guy's going to be better than what he's rated. But I do like that evaluation process and the way that they're kind of trying to do that again.
I mean, he brought in Cordell Flott, Jay Ward, 3 stars.
Yeah.
Turned into be NFL players.
My point. You know what I mean? Like,
I believe, and this is just me too, you got to think about it. I believe a lot of that is built and running off of relationships that Corey and the current staff that goes out there now and does the recruiting on, in terms of what they've built throughout the state over time, right? So now they can go into these offices. Because you got to remember, like, if conventional wisdom basically just tells us that these kids are more visible, there's more tape, there's more eyes, there's more conversation, and there's more rankings on them now, right? You don't necessarily need to go into these schools to kind of get who you need. But I think what's happening is those old relationships, the people that you trust, the people that are in place, the people that are still at a lot of these schools, they're leaning on them. They're talking to them. Hey, what do you think about him? He may be rated as this. What do you think about him? Because I believe in your conversation. I believe that this is how we can talk to this kid. I believe that if we coach him this way, we can get X, Y, and Z out of him. And I think they're leaning and using and really referring to those as opposed to just a national recruiting database and or a star rank level and all of that stuff that doesn't have a personal relationship with the people that are closest to those people every day.
Correct.
Those kids every day.
And the other part, the same way we talk about Louisiana baseball, Louisiana recruits from LSU, or Louisiana recruits that commit to LSU and that are a big part and that they are a big reason why LSU wins national championships. These guys who are LSU goes and recruits a little earlier and they're not really the highly rated guys, but they have a little bit more of a chip on their shoulder, and they come to LSU a little bit more to prove they're from Louisiana, and it just kind of seems like you talk about have the dog in you, and you have that swagger on defense. It feels like those guys have a little bit more of that because they've had to earn it, and it's been a little bit harder of a road. I don't know. That's just maybe me thinking, being, want to see the underdogs. I don't know, but I believe that really does matter. Whenever you're trying to develop a guy, because there's some things that you can't teach, and I think that is one of them.
Yeah, it's important. I think it's something you have to have. I feel like you can find that in 5-star guys as well.
No
Obviously
doubt.
Not as
No doubt.
You call it that. But, yeah, I mean, it's important. It's something you would look for in a player, something you would look for, I would hope you would be looking for to bring into your program, because not only does it push that said person that's doing the work, but you would hope that stuff like that would drive the guy next to him.
Yeah.
Maybe he is the better talent. Correct. He understands that guy's coming behind him. Maybe the people that are under him feel like, man, I got to up my game. Maybe the Justin Jeffersons never get going if they're not watching the talented guys in front of them.
Correct.
Maybe, so like you need those things. You need that kind of drive in your program, and it's just really called having the right people and not just talented people.
Correct. 100%.
And that's why it's good to see that Brian Kelly realized the error of his ways, I guess, somewhat quickly.
Yep.
I mean, look at the people he took off the staff that are back on the staff.
Right. Maybe if John Pearson would have continued to play football, maybe he would have been one of those underrated guys that LSU goes and gets, because he was a menace on the football field in 8th grade. Didn't play in high school, but a menace. Lloyd pulled up his huddle. I didn't even know you had huddles in 8th grade. I guess now you do. but pulled it up and
Well, Ahmad Bro from
that's right.
played at Ruston, and we were talking off here because he tweeted about him whenever he was hitting dingers for LSU baseball. He's like, my dog from the 318. I was like, what do you know about Pierce? He's like, brother, when he was at West Monroe, they played against each other, obviously, in like 7th, 8th grade. He's like, he was the best player on the field at all times. Like, I don't think I ever saw him hit the ground. And so I was like, let's see if there's any tape of this, and I'll pull up some of John Pearson's highlights if y'all want to see him. But brother could, he was playing quarterback, running back, middle linebacker, and tight end. He was Taysom Hill just at 240 pounds. And
he's outrunning people.
Yeah,
outrunning people.
Stud.
I mean, obviously 8th grade, so it's like, but still, kudos to him. He was an athlete, which is good. Always good to have athletes on the baseball field.
That's what I think he's going to, people don't think he's going to play third, brother. I think he will.
You think he has a shot?
He got sweet feet.
Athlete.
Hey, y'all seen him in that box? It's only a matter of time until they find a spot to say,
he's gonna. I think he's a double-digit homer guy next year. I think he can hit 15 if he has to.
Yeah.
No doubt. Are you pulling it up or?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
With the huddle, you have to give yourself a second because it does run ads.
Everybody's gotta get paid. Everybody's gotta get. Speaking of ads, John Pearson's highlight film
brought to you by
our newest sponsor, Alumni Hall. Listen, it's the summertime. You may not be thinking about what you're going to wear to Saturday game days. You may be on the beach. If you're on the beach, perfect time to go jump in Alumni Hall, get some nice LSU gear, a little hat, maybe a bucket hat, maybe a little T-shirt to go wear on the beach, represent your college. Everybody likes to represent their school on the beach so you can have conversation piece with someone with the other beach goers and the other vacationers. Alumni Hall is our newest sponsor. They have all the gear that you possibly could want. They have all the newest drops, all the coaches' gear, everything that you see on the field that is worn from the coaches and the players. Alumni Hall provides that for you. Awesome stuff. They're located in Perkins Row. I've been through it a few times. I've gotten a lot of stuff from there whenever I'm ready to go because I don't go get the stuff from school anymore. I don't go through the hey, can I get the free stuff? I'm here for the cause. I'm trying to help all these other businesses succeed, and so I go out there and I support my school through Alumni Hall. They have everything you want: T-shirts, hats. T-shirts, hats, jackets, whatever you may want. They got it. Go check them out. They're in Perkins Row. You're not thinking about it now, but when you start thinking about it, it's gonna be too late because they're gonna be picked over and you're not gonna love it.
You won't be first. You'll be last.
That's it. Here he is.
Big jump. We're kick returner too. I forgot to mention.
Whoa! Look out! Why is he returning from the 50-yard line?
Oh, they don't kick it that far in 8th grade.
Oh God.
I
mean,
is that 24 or 44?
24.
Okay.
You thought he was Tyler Warren from Penn State?
He could be.
Yeah, like
could be.
44.
Look at him, running back.
Look at him in the backfield.
I mean, he's the same size. Look at the guy go. Look at him move.
Look at the stiff arm.
Good block on the outside. Good block on the outside, though. Good block on the outside.
Hurdle somebody.
Yeah, LSU missed on one here. Look at this motion. I wonder who's getting it. Maybe the guy that just scored for a 60-yard touchdown. Look, slip out.
Throw it out there. Oh, he's wide open. Terrible by the outside
Bad
defender.
Defense.
Yep. But look at this.
Look at him booking down the sidelines.
You ain't gonna catch him. Can't catch him.
You can't tackle him.
No, you can't. Look at that.
End zone.
Look at that touchdown. Touchdown.
Nasty.
And look,
is this a catch?
And if you want to see, if you want to see him, if he can play the outfield, look at this man track this football.
Hey, this is actually this is 8th grade, right? So
Fine 24.
That's what I was screaming.
Listen to me. When you're in 8th grade and you're the best player on the field, it doesn't matter if they find you or not. You're going to dominate.
Put it up for the big fella.
Look at this.
Look
at that.
Out the way.
Look at that.
Off me.
My man can go
get
get
it.
it.
Look, playing quarterback. Put it
Play
in the
action.
bucket.
That's against UL?
Put it
Play
in the
action.
bucket.
UL Monroe. Boom.
Put it in the bucket.
Look at my guy go.
Look at 10. Break the tape.
Look at that.
I'm sure he's
Look at that.
probably majoring in accounting right now.
Hey, guy can ball.
Put him in fullback.
Fullback. Look, everywhere. Taysom Hill.
He was just the
give me
ball
that
player.
thing.
We just put him on the field. We didn't care. That's the old school
Look,
player right there.
can't
We don't
touch
want
him.
that no more.
Can't get him
breakaway
down.
speed.
Touchdown.
8, you ain't got a shot.
Crazy. Big man can move.
And then they put him on defense for one play they had to end the game because he killed a kid. Look, watching him shoot the gap right here.
He's bigger than the guard.
Did this man come off the field?
Bam!
Oh,
Hey.
God. Watch out.
Talked a little shit there, too.
Watch
Watch
out.
out, my boy.
Alumni Hall brought the highlights
Let
brought
me
to you
tell you
by
what.
Alumni
Let
Hall.
me tell you what. That's some damn good film for 8th grade kids.
That's what I said. That's exactly what I said. I'm like, Jesus, that's 8th grade.
Yeah, Bod Bro wasn't lying.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't. Guy could play. You're gonna see him on the baseball field. You won't see him on the football field, but you see him on the baseball field. Some of the quick feet, the hands, soft hands. They'll be able to move.
Arm strength.
Yeah, he's got it all. He's got it all. It was great to see. Speaking of guys,
do you know that Jay Johnson ran for 1,000 yards and had 1,000 yards receiving the year before? Christian McCaffrey.
I feel like Jay would have been a great player in a Kade Anderson Wrecking Rams offense. Like I feel like
the wing T. No doubt.
I feel like he would have been great in that offense.
The wing T.
But it's hard to be a 1,000-yard receiver in high school.
Yeah, it is.
1,000-yard receiver is junior year, then a 1,000-yard rusher is senior year.
100%. Very hard to be a 1,000-yard wide receiver. Oh, especially back then.
Yeah.
Especially back then when you're not throwing the ball around like everybody is now. Now it's not as hard because they throw the ball 70 times a game.
He said he was Christian McCaffrey before Christian McCaffrey.
There you go. They look the exact same.
Mm-hmm.
McCaffrey.
Yeah.
We do have some Ask Mikey and Mitch's.
Oh, yeah. I forgot I was Ask Mikey and Mitch Wednesday. Duh. Let's go.
We got some in the chat. We got some on Twitter. As always, I will reward those.
Oh, I meant to say this. All-Star game next week, Robo-Umps.
Yeah.
Robo-Umps. Bring him in the All-Star game.
Paul Skeens
What?
will be pitching against the Robo-Ump.
Yeah, he hadn't announced the starters yet.
I think it's a starter.
I mean, it's either going to be him or Wheeler from the Phillies.
But, I mean, you had, what was it, Skeens that got into it with the umpire, or the umpire got into Skeens.
Yeah.
Don't you celebrate
well,
like
Phil
that.
Cuzzy,
He's walking off the field.
Phil Cuzzy basically lost the game for against the Phillies. I don't know who they're playing, but the guy struck out twice. Called them both balls. And
the Diamondbacks?
Yeah, Diamondbacks. That's it.
The walk-off 3-run inside the Parker?
No, that wasn't that game.
Oh.
But that was wild. All right, next. Questions?
Oh, reply with your question for tonight's Ask Mikey and Mitch. And here are the questions, and we will get your replies. Ask Him and Him. I've not read any of these. I'm just going down the list, so don't get mad at me.
Okay.
Portal has been eerily quiet. Do you think LSU brings anyone else in? I know we need more pitching, but what about another power bat?
I do believe they bring more in. I think it's going to happen after the draft, though.
First off, we're sitting here saying another power bat. They did get 2 pretty strong power bats already in the portal, and they're also still not going to lose Ethan Fry. You're probably going to graduate, or not graduate, but let's say accelerate or pull up a John Pearson. Like, they got some power bats there. This is one thing people are not understanding from Jay's first few years here. This team is returning a lot of guys who have experience in this league finally. And so the need to actually go out there and find the experience or not have it already in-house is not like it was every other year.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I don't...
Well, I think Curiel's going to have double-digit homers next year. I mean, I think Jake Brown could probably going to have double-digit homers next year. Milam had 11 this year. I believe he's going to have that plus more next year. Pearson could hit double-digit homers next year. Aaron Beatty's but he showed you his juice. He has the potential to hit double digits. He's not a slap guy.
Like, you are bringing a lot back, man. A lot. And the 2 that you added are very proven bats already in college baseball. If obviously we don't know if every one of those guys you just named is going to take that next step and go to that next spot. But if you hit on 3 or 4 of those, there's a lot of pop in the lineup.
Yeah, and I don't know if you have seen Dardar swing. He's going to hit the ball. The Intimidator is going to be peppered a couple times by him.
Yeah,
Dardar had 13.
I don't think power is something in this year's lineup to come next year is something to really be worried about, and that's not even talking about what impact freshmen you may have that make it to campus.
Yeah, and Braden Simpson had 12.
Yep.
22 for his career.
All right. Next.
I am getting back to it. Ask Mikey and Mitch. I just had one. I don't know where it went. The Fonz.
Hey.
Ask Him and Him. I know it's a different time now, but what's the process like for going pro? Do you talk to a lot of teams? If so, What are some of the questions they asked you? Do you have an idea of who's drafting you, or does your agent pretty much take care of all the talking to teams?
That's a great question. A lot of questions in that one question. Sometimes you talk to all the teams, sometimes you don't. If you're a top pick, if you're going to be a first rounder, that's probably going to have a range of like, you know, hey, this guy's probably going to fall anywhere between 10 and 20 or whatever. You're going to talk to the majority of the teams, right? Because if you fall a little bit further, if you're a guy that's a surefire top 5 pick, I'd imagine Kade Anderson talked to everybody, but there's only a few teams that really have a chance of getting him, so they probably did more of their homework on him. You don't really know where you're going to go for the most part. Agent is going to tell you what he's talking and what he's hearing from, but that doesn't mean shit. Like, there's so many conversations that I had, oh, you're going to go here. This team is going to draft you if you're there. It didn't happen. And the team that drafted me told me they weren't going to draft me. So it's just, you know, it's you don't really know who's going to draft you. You go through the process. As far as the questions they ask you everything under the sun. They ask me questions. If they say, hey, if we want to move you to third base, would you be okay with that? Like, if you know, they ask you crazy questions to kind of see what answers you want to give them and how you handle kind of being thrown off guard, but they ask you everything under the sun.
Yeah, I would also say there's a little bit of a caveat in terms of, especially for those guys that are like draft eligible sophomores, like how strongly are they talking to them? If it doesn't happen that year, how much turnover does that front office have? Because maybe that guy that was with the Cardinals liked you this year and he's not there and he's maybe the GM now of Seattle the next year. And you have a great year. So, like, there is so much that can go into it, and you kind of just answer the questions that are in front of you. It really probably shouldn't matter or mean that much to you who's asking the questions, and nothing's final until the name's turned in for the draft. Like, that's kind of how it is. So, like, it doesn't matter what someone may tell you, what they may be looking for, what you may have quote unquote possibly agreed on. It ain't final until it's turned in. So you really don't know.
Correct.
Well, I don't know the conflicting information about
What?
Braden Simpson. If he had 22 homers or 12, I saw 12 and I saw 22. So I thought that was for the year. If he had 22 last year, that's
I think it said 12.
an impressive amount of pumps. But either way, power bat.
Oh, wait.
I know. I saw both.
Yeah, I don't know.
On the team website, he had 12. On Baseball Reference, he had 22. I don't know how petty they are if they took down his 2024 stats. Ask him. What was your favorite time of the year? Walking back into the locker room with the boys for the first time, or walking out the locker room for the last time that year? I feel like it's probably contingent on how the year went.
The best time of the year? Go ahead, Jay.
That's a good question. I think walking in to start is an awesome feeling. Ending it the way I got an opportunity to end it was an awesome feeling, but it was also bittersweet because we knew it was over. We did what we wanted to do. We did what we set out to do. We did what we said we were going to do. So that made the celebration of it that much sweeter. But you also knew that locker room was no longer going to be the same, or for me, that locker room was no more.
Yeah.
So like it's they're both pretty special feelings. I'm not really trying to play in the middle, but they also mean different things, you know?
Yeah, correct. I think for me, I mean, I agree with that. But I think if I had like the better feeling of like, I don't know, excitement. Yeah, I think the first day walking with the boys is awesome because it's just there's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of anticipation. If you win it all, obviously the last day is great, but like Jay said, very bittersweet.
Oh, speaking of, from Bourbon Brony, if y'all, the 09 team as a whole, could play against any of the other LSU College World Series teams, which year would you want to play against? Do y'all think y'all could win that series?
So I had this conversation with Doug Thompson the other day. He's like, we need to make this a show, and you need to get a guy from each era and have him on here and debate on who would be the best championship team. I am biased, obviously, towards 09. I'd put us up against anybody. as far in a series of winning a series, I would put us up against anybody because of the two starters that we had and the lineup that we had. I would love to play the 03 team. I mean, the 23 team, because they're obviously electric. That's the newest outside of this past team. That was the team that was known to be, been talked about being one of the greatest teams ever in LSU history. I would like us to go up head to head against each other.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm right there. I would have loved to have played the 23 team. It's probably more so has to do with the simple fact that I just would have loved to face Paul Skeens. Now, I say I say that, and like my only other close second really isn't a championship team. I would have loved to face Ben McDonald in college. That's the two orgs, because I felt much like you just said. Like I felt like our team stacked up with anybody else that was out there. So like even if Paul Skeens beat us, how are you beating either Anthony Renato on day 2 if he didn't go day 1, but he was probably going day 1? Or how are you beating the SEC pitcher of the year that year, which was Lewis Coleman? We had one of the best closers in the league at that time. We had a really good bullpen, and we had a very good offense. So for me, one game, if it's going to be Paul Skeens, if it's going to be Ben McDonald, love to face him. I would have loved to have faced him. But I also know if we're talking a short series, a 3-game series, I didn't feel like anybody was beating us in that.
Yeah, agreed.
Oh, in the same vein, from Bourbon Therapy, how close are you guys with your old championship teammates? During these dead times, maybe you guys could have one of them on every show to either rehash or catch up to their lives on after baseball. Luis Coleman was just on Jacques Talk, or even recent dudes like Beloso.
I mean, we're pretty tight. All the guys from the 09, most of the guys from the 09 team, we still all have regular conversations. But that would be a good idea.
And we did it with McGee.
Yeah.
Did it with Ochinko.
Yep. We've had, all obviously the others older year teams. Moffitt comes on.
Mm-hmm.
Milazzo comes on. Yeah, we've done it. Doug Thompson comes on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, couple more.
Asking them from the Fonz. If you were or still are in playing shape and you got a call, would you play for anyone or 1 to 2 specific teams or coach?
Or coach?
Yeah, would you play like pick a if it was a specific team or a specific coach?
Okay, if I was in playing shape, I'm not.
You got that toe.
Yeah. But if I was and I got a call and said, hey,
damn toe.
That's the only thing holding me back.
If they said you're going to be in the big leagues, I'd go play for anybody. Like, if I'm in the big leagues, I don't care who you are. I'm going to go play.
What are you basing that off of?
Me?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like, would it be just because, like, I have the opportunity to go play in the big leagues? Like,
yeah, I want to have the
opportunity. I
opportunity.
still think, like, playing for the Marlins in the big leagues right now might be a very tough call.
See, I would
4,000 fans show.
I mean, that would suck, but, like, I would love the fact that I would love to be back in the big leagues. Yes. Like, I would just – because now you get an opportunity to go out there and play, and if you play well, then maybe you go somewhere else.
What if it was like
Okay, so that's what you're basing it off of. Not like as it's hey, here's 1 year, or here's 25 days, or here's one, like, that's what you're basing it off of. Maybe if I do well here, I can bounce around and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of where my mind went. Is like, well, what's the end game here? Like, is this going to continue? Am I going to continue to go forward here, or is this just hey, here's 1 year pay, whatever, however you want to look at it, but like, would you go do it? Because I do think like that kind of a situation would be. It's a long year.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to do that. I would rather go say if I'm going to do it and it's only for 1 year and there is no quote unquote future behind it, I guess, outside of the pay, like nothing really says, yeah, I want to do it if it's not going to be for a team that truly wants to contend, I guess.
I still think I'd do it if they say, hey, you get 1 year in the big leagues, no matter what, you're not getting sent down, you're going to play. I think I'd still do it.
No, I think the question is the opposite.
What?
Is if you get the call and it's like literally game to game. Like, you can't go up there. No, this is my question. Like, you can't go up there like guaranteed 1 year, no matter what happens. I get to be a big leaguer. It's like,
oh no, then I want to go play for a good team.
yeah, because I think if it was Like
if that's the question, hey, listen,
contract.
you go there and you get 10 days to go here. I want to go play for a good team because good teams, if you're winning, not a lot of moves get made.
If you're batting, 080.
Yeah, which I've done that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bad at 0.
Yeah, just got to get one. First one's the hardest.
Yeah.
He goes that bad at 0.
Only 23 at bats, but I'm bad at 0.
When did you start to realize it?
What do you mean, like
When you're like, oh.
that I was batting 0?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I knew I was batting 0. That's why. I mean, I was so far in my head at that point because I knew that I had got off to a bad start the year before. And I knew I needed to get off to a good start, and I just put so much pressure on. So I knew it the whole time, which was not.
And that's not conducive for success.
No.
So you're like 0 for 4. You're like, oh, I'll probably be 0 for
I do think, too, I also do think, too, I love when guys, especially now, try to tell you, like, they don't know any of what they're hitting or they don't say. Bro, there is so many damn scoreboards in almost every field that you're in that when you come to the plate, if it ain't your big-ass name and head on the big scoreboard, it's on a banner scoreboard or on a scoreboard on the wall or on all 5 of them. Right? Like, there's almost no way you can't, like, at least glance at it and see it. And I think it's the funniest thing when guys say, yeah, I'll do it. Shit, I got no clue.
Yeah. I tried so hard not to look at it, and I could not. It was couldn't.
Oh, okay, bro. Yeah,
Always in
okay,
my
you don't know.
face.
You got no clue. Yeah, okay.
All right. Last one, and then we shut it down.
Got a couple more, but okay.
I know.
This is a good one. Adam Cubido in the chat. Not sure if this has been asked. Who do y'all think will be the first player from this team to appear in the majors? Just assume everybody goes.
I mean, I'm not trying to piggyback it, but like, I remember even going back to his start at Texas. I got a chance to talk to him after it, and the one thing that I told him was I loved how he was pitching with conviction. I loved the conviction that he threw the fastball with, and we got a chance to see as the season progressed how good the slider was. We got a chance to see him use the changeup. We got a chance to see him drop the curveball in there from time to time. That kind of pitchability and the upside of what it turned out being by the end of the year, I think Kade's one of those guys.
Yeah.
Just straight up.
I think Kade's going to have the longest career of this group. But who gets there first?
I think it could be
I think
Shores.
Chase Shores could get there first because I think that if he gets drafted to the right team that's trying to win, and they put him in the bullpen, I could see him getting to the big leagues relatively quickly because of, obviously the 102. And if they could figure out how to get the ball to go this way and not stay that way, game over.
All right. If that's the last one, that's the last one.
Appreciate the Ask Mikey Mitch, brought to you by our friends here at Bocock Brothers. Bocock Brothers Cigars. Go on to go to LSUcigars.com, get the championship box cigars, limited edition. I believe there's only 200 in circulation as of now. It's going to be in and out type of thing. But get your national championship box at LSUcigars.com. Use Mik'd15 as a promo code whenever you're checking out to get 15% off. And if you miss out on this, they got football boxes coming here soon. We're about to have some new inventory in the studio that we're going to be able to highlight. But go get your LSU Championship cigar boxes, special edition. You get a little bat in it, too.
That's fire.
Yep. LSUcigars.com. Mik'd15 is the promo code. Lighters. Look at the lighters.
Lil Wayne.
Hey. All right. Let's get to the seggies. Mistake of the day, Lloyd. What you got?
Drive the fuck up there.
I love it.
We didn't get to it. We talked about this a good
I
bit
know.
before the show.
Mistake of the day.
Look, I'm all for getting drunk on the golf course. I enjoy
Not all for slow play, though.
not slow play and not being able to tee the ball up.
Right.
That should be your first sign, like maybe a water. Mix it in. Stay in the cart. That's fine, too.
Right.
Be a cart ornament. But the last thing you want to do is run into a former NHL enforcer and still be very full of liquid courage.
Yeah.
And this happened to this poor
I'm a
sap.
tough guy. You're not that tough.
Drive the fuck up there or you got booted the fuck out of here.
Not from Canada or anything.
No.
You're not a tough guy. Hurry up. I'll fucking promise you that.
Hurry up.
Hurry up.
Not that fucking
No, he's
tough.
not.
Not that fucking
He's not.
tough.
He's a tough
He's not
guy.
tough.
No, he's pretty tough.
He's not tough.
What a
You're not
friend.
tough.
Hey.
You're not tough.
Let's get going.
Get going.
He knows that his friend's a psychopath. Isn't it pretty tough?
That's why he's videoing it.
You're not tough.
This is not
Yeah, it's not.
stand there 50.
First of all,
You can't even. You guys can't even stand and tee your ball up, man.
Man,
He's not teeing it up.
and this guy's a mellow guy trying to be the.
the mediator.
Look, watch how long it takes for this guy to get the ball in the tee.
Ditches the driver, puts it on the ground. Doesn't even have a club. Like, he's using both hands.
I thought this was
Should tell you
frozen.
right here, this is not going to be good.
I thought this was frozen for a second. I was like, damn, he's just sitting there. But he can't get the ball in the tee.
Brother,
He's been trying to put this ball on the tee for 30 seconds.
Fucking cry.
Here we go.
now he's mad.
Fucking cry about it. You fucking pussy. I'm a pussy. Hey, fucking cry about it. You're gonna get fucking shit today. I don't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck. Oh, glasses off. Here we go. Oh, glove off.
Nope, I'm not filming this. I'm not stopping. No. You guys need to get off the golf course.
Oh, he's hyping himself up.
Now. Like, pack up.
Like he's about to squat 700 pounds.
Go.
Little does he know.
You're not scaring anybody. You're just making
Hey, how much would you enjoy playing like right behind them right here?
Go at him. Right here.
Come on, man.
Hey, I'll take a start.
Random man, it's
Watch
all
the
good.
watch the crawl.
See him, he's-
Watch the crawl.
I got it all on record. It's around the ball. I got it all on record.
Bang!
Hey, you wanna fucking go, guys?
Yeah, you get some too.
Get out of here.
Go back and fucking run.
My guy just got his hand up too.
Enough!
He said enough. I'm over it.
Enough!
Hey, you gotta appreciate the dedication. Then he just says, I'm a
Enough! Get him the fuck out of here! No, it's not going to go well for
Hey,
you.
this is the
not
first
going
time
well
these guys
for
are front.
Stop moving! I said stop looking like an idiot!
Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Fucking
boy, that guy's defeated, huh? Listen,
Not going well
so
for
much to unpack there. One, can't come back after getting thrown into the water.
you.
Right?
Stay.
But you have to appreciate this guy's determination. He got thrown into the water. The guy is twice the size of you. Probably didn't know this guy was an enforcer. But boy, that's a tough. Now you're filmed and you're on the internet. Like, that is a tough ticket for you, especially all the shit you're talking. Tough. Mistake of the day by that guy.
God. But yeah, it's just so unfortunate who you ran into. A guy with a very tenured career like he.
And look, you know what? That guy deserved it.
Oh, absolutely.
That guy deserved it.
drive the fucking been sitting there for fucking
I
23
mean, unbelievable.
But you should have known you were in trouble whenever, first of all, after you got tossed. But the grab.
They grab him. It was like he was like a kid. He's like,
Well,
you're
no,
not
this
gonna-
guy knows now you're like,
yeah.
I've lost all
You're
control
done.
of myself.
You're
like,
done.
my faculties aren't working, and this guy knows how to fight.
Yeah. Yep. And
He went straight for the hockey collar
And
grab.
he was saying bang,
Bang,
bang, bang, every
bang.
time he punched him in the face. That's wild. Wow. Great one. That's tough. Tough tickets for that guy. All right, curtain calls. You got one, Lloyd?
Do we have a show curtain call?
We could have it unless Jared has another one.
No, we need a show curtain call.
Show curtain call. Our good friend, teammate of ours, Jared and I's, DJ LeMahieu. I'm not saying it was a curtain call that he got designated for assignment. That's obviously not something that he probably loves. But he's had such an illustrious career. He's made $120 million in his lifetime at playing in Major League Baseball. 2-time Silver Slugger or batting champ in the National League and the American League. Made I think a couple All-Star games. All-time guy. Like, just super low-key, soft-spoken, but just a great dude. Unbelievable career. Yankees still owe him $22 million. And so they DFA'd him. That money is guaranteed. And it seems like it is the end of a career for him. I'd imagine he's probably I don't know this for a fact, but I would imagine he's probably going to shut it down. He's had an unbelievable career in the big leagues. And kudos and curtain call to our guy, DJ LeMahieu.
I don't know what's next, but hey, one of the best I've ever been around. I can tell you that, bro. DJ's a stand-up
True
dude,
professional.
great dude. Man, that's my guy.
Professional hitter. Professional hitter since the day he stepped on foot at LSU. Just always hit.
And there's some cool little tidbits to this story. The Yankees wanted to do this last year at the end of the year. They wanted to designate him. Aaron Judge stepped in and said you can't discard a veteran like that.
Love that.
Stepped in for DJ for what he's done for the Yankees and how well he played. Like they had the saying like death taxes and DJ LeMahieu with runners in scoring position. Judge being the leader of the team, stepping in, being like, no, that's not the way it's going to work.
Love that.
And also, this is also on the Yankees because they were above the luxury tax, so they had to extend the years on the deal because they couldn't get under it. So it's not on DJ.
Nope.
And he's earned it.
No doubt. So kudos to him. Enjoy retirement. Enjoy being back with the fam. Hopefully we get to see him at a couple more LSU games.
Great interview.
You never know. Great interview. Avoid it at all costs. All right, we appreciate you on this beautiful Wednesday night. Thanks for tuning in. Please like, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you can't watch us, but you like listening to us. Anywhere you get your pods. No show on Friday. I'm gone fishing. I'll be offshore.
Be out to lunch.
And I'll fishing. Business trip. So no show on Friday. We'll be back live on Monday. Hopefully, Josh Jordan in studio talking draft. Draft is going to be on Sunday. We'll recapping all of that. Talking about some of the SEC media days, all that good stuff. All-Star game, All-Star week, Home Run Derby, all that. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Enjoy the rest of y'all's Wednesday. See you next week. Peace.
And if you don't have anything to listen to from Friday to 1 to 3, check out the Buddy Sanji show I'll be producing on Pelican Sports Network.
Oh, man. Later.